Hey there, Internet. Welcome to ClassyChat, Episode 2. My name is James, and I'm joined by...
Ty. Hi. Go fuck yourself.
And my name is Michael. Hello. At least I think it is. My mother might have lied to me.
So it's been a while since we did the first one. We actually tried recording a second one, but by the time it was not relevant by the time we ended up getting it out. So yeah.
Blame James.
Blame me.
It's always your fault.
Oh, yeah.
It's like
usually.
the motto of the ClassyCast is goddamn James.
Blame
Obviously.
Canada.
It's totally
Blame
not
Canada.
goddamn Ty.
Blame Canada. Yeah, it was a good movie. Anyway, so I think like before, we'll start off with what we've been playing. Ty, what have you been playing lately?
Last Remnant. A lot of The Last Remnant. Not really much else. I haven't really been playing much besides Last Remnant and League, I guess.
Wait,
But-
was that episode 1 or episode not 2?
What?
That we talked about Last Remnant like a ton.
That was not 2.
Was not 2? Was that 1? So they
It
already
was-
know. They already know it's an amazing game and they should play it, even though it's not that amazing, but it still is amazing.
I think we talked about it in episode not 2.
Yeah.
In other words,
Episode 2?
the second episode that we never actually released.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, Last Remnant is an awesome JRPG that does really interesting stuff with combat and stuff. Ty, take it away.
It does really interesting stuff with the combat, equipment customizing, skill gaining, and general scaling in itself. The storyline doesn't actually matter until 3/4 of the way through the game, in which case you don't actually follow it anyways. And it's pretty fun and actually really challenging, honestly.
It's pretty cheap too, isn't it? Did it only? It launched
It's a
at
hella
$40.
old game. Like, it came out in like 2008.
It's $10. It's like 2000. I think it was 2008, 2011.
I remember when it launched, it was only like $40. So
Yeah, it was,
The
Last
it was
Remnant
discount
came out
because it released in Japan
2008.
first, and it was old.
yeah. Well, that's
I'm actually curious when that came out.
The Last
that
Remnant
game-
released November 20th, 2008.
Yeah, I was right.
all right. Well,
But I love that game. Like, I keep wanting to go back to it, but every time I go back to it, I remember that I didn't, it doesn't cloud sync properly for me for some reason. Or does it even not have cloud sync? Either
don't
way,
think it
I
has
get
cloud
lost
sync.
every time I try to play it, and so I have to start from the beginning. I'm like, damn it. The very, very start of the game, you lose your sister, and that's pretty much the plot for the entire first disc. And it's like,
Or, like,
yeah.
The first disc and the second disc.
And most
like-
of the second disc.
It's
got
a
that
3-disc
very-
game.
It's got that very JRPG feeling story and stuff like that, though.
Except it doesn't, honestly, terribly. Square Enix, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because unlike most JRPGs where they use the story as a driving force for the game itself is actually its own driving force. It doesn't actually rely on the story at all.
Yeah, you can
The
actually
story
just
feels...
ignore it completely.
Yeah.
Aside from when you're walking in the town, they do that one bullshit at the very beginning of the game where it's like, go to all these places. And you're just like, God damn it, where do I go next? Because I just skipped all this dialogue. Hate
You
it
just
when
kind of
JRPGs
cry to
do that.
yourself, and then you decide to just wander around and talk to random people until you get the trigger.
Yeah,
Which,
pretty
I
much.
mean,
It's an old game. I'm not going to hold it against it. It was technically developed in 2004. So, yeah.
jeez.
It doesn't graphically hold up very well either,
it
unfortunately.
actually holds up pretty well.
The PC version does, but if they're playing on console, hell no.
Well, yeah, the console has terrible rendering issues.
Yeah, it looks terrible. And it runs
Looks
terrible
okay.
too.
Looks okay.
For
Then
2008 now, it looks like a 2006 game, like a 360 launch title, because it was
Yeah.
in Japan.
I was about to say, wasn't it?
Yeah, over in Japan it was released earlier. At least I think it did. I might be thinking of a different game, but
I think you're thinking of a different game.
probably. Either way,
Because
you also were playing XCOM, weren't you?
a little bit.
A little
I was
bit.
playing XCOM for 10 hours because my friend bought it for me.
A little
And I
bit.
have this policy where, well, you understand that I'm not employed and I literally stay up for 18 hours of a day, right? So playing 10 hours of a game is like me sitting down for a day to play a game.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, I'm enjoying XCOM. I'm playing Enemy Unknown, not 2, even though 2 is out now, and all my
haven't
friends are
played it.
playing it.
I still haven't played it. I need to
I
play
haven't
it.
played any of them.
I've had it for over a year, and it's just sitting here in my library.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have the first one, or whatever, Enemy Unknown, whatever the new one is.
Yes, Enemy Unknown.
Yeah.
I own it. I haven't played it, so
It's a good turn-based strategy game. My only complaint is that floaters are are fucking bullshit. Because there's nothing more annoying than depending on RNG to not flank you and murder all of your troops.
But isn't that what that game is kind of based about? Is RNG?
Not really, actually. Most of it is it's actually pretty tactical and pretty easy to predict. Floaters are just annoying because they'll fly off the screen and then land in a random position, which is most likely behind your troops. So if you were moving forward like a unit, like you're supposed to, and not leaving your snipers all the way in the back like I do, you can get fucked really easily because of floaters.
Gotcha. All right, well, Mike, what have you been playing?
A lot of games, actually. I've been getting a lot of random review keys for really, really bad games, and so I've wasted a lot of time on really, really bad games, and it's terrible. So
you've been wasting time on Blade and Soul.
Yes, I've also been. There's been a few other games as well. Yes, I have been wasting my time because Blade and Soul is basically an MMO, but it's actually really, really fun. Like, it's got a fun combat system.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I've decided, though, that I'm going to start skipping these games that are just terrible and not even giving developers a chance if their game looks terrible. Like, I'm just done with that. But for Blade and Soul, that one's actually been fun. That's one of the games I've been playing a little bit. I've put about 8 hours into the game, and it's pretty fun. Like, I've gotten up to level 35. Like, leveling in that game is super quick, and you don't really have to grind for things.
That's about where I get playing any MMO.
Well, like I'm still having fun with it. Like, the combat is very action oriented, and it's pretty much free hack and slash, so you can swing wherever you want and stuff like that. So it feels great, and the movement is really good, and they allow you to customize UI and the camera and stuff like that, so that it feels more like an action game. It just feels great. Although if you want to play it like a more classic Korean MMO, you can. The thing I don't like about it is the quests are very uninspired. It's all go kill this or do this, but I really like the dungeons and stuff like that. They change like their systems so that it's all like quick stuff. And so it's like, oh, I'm going to clear this dungeon really, really quick. And then, it literally is like 10-minute dungeons instead of like hour-long raids. Although the game doesn't have raids yet, which is disappointing too.
And the PvP is horribly imbalanced.
Yes, at the moment. The PvP is interesting. I will say it's really, really fun when you go 3v3, but 1v1 is just incredibly broken. I play a Blade Master, which is not broken, and so I get wrecked.
No. Blade Masters and Assassins are like the two top tier classes in that game.
I am not playing their build, though. I'm playing a PvE build for dungeons and stuff like that, so I have a lot of blocks and stuff like that.
So
I don't have all the combos.
So you're the person who plays WoW and bitches about not doing well in PvP when all you do is raid.
No, I don't play PvP in any MMO, really. I've played like 12 matches of PvP, which is like 20 minutes of PvP, and that's it.
I find that if games are going to include PvP, they should at least make an effort to keep it balanced, or purely focus on PvE and include PvP as an afterthought. That way it has a clear focus on what it wants to do. Blade and Soul feels like it wants to focus on PvP, but decided to make it imbalanced to make it quote-unquote fun, when all it did was make it horribly
No, the developers in the Korean development path has been focused on a lot of endgame dungeon stuff and the endgame raid stuff, but we don't have that yet because it just released over here. We're literally like 3 years of content behind, or 4 years. So
they're too busy translating all the content.
Yeah, basically. The translation is actually pretty good, though. Like, I do have to give them props on that.
That's what I've heard.
It's one of the first Korean games where I've gone into and I've only seen one error, and it got fixed right outside of closed beta.
Neat.
Like, that's it. And everything else feels natural. Some of the voice acting's not great, but I don't even expect that for native English MMOs either. Like, MMOs just have terrible voice acting in general because of how much stuff they have to throw into a game.
Yeah, well, it's like I never understood the point of a lot of voice acting in MMOs anyway.
The game actually has a pretty good story. Like, it's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
The story is essentially, it starts off really dramatic, and you start off as a trainee for this one tribe, the Hungmoon or something like that. I can't really say it properly. I'm terrible with those words. But basically, your entire place gets invaded by these people that want some legendary sword bullshit. They kill everyone. And you're like the last survivor aside from spoilers. And so, like, basically, they fuck you up. And then you survive, you wake up in this other place, and then that place gets fucked up. And it's like, oh, well, what's going on now? And they actually throw in a lot of little interesting twists, like there's betrayals and things like that. It's cool. It's stuff I don't see in MMOs. it's more of like a single player. It reminds me a lot of like the classic action RPGs that you'd see, like Jet Empire and stuff like that. A lot of storylines that you'd see in those types of games is actually in that game. It's actually
that's good.
Pretty great. Like at first I was like, oh yeah, it's MMO stuff, but then it started throwing in those twists. I'm like, all right, this is interesting. But I will say
the biggest
it's
thing
a very
about
disconnected.
MMOs. Yeah, the biggest thing I hate about MMOs is the story.
Yeah, I will say right now though that for one, the story's not complete because we don't have all the content yet, and it won't be complete for probably ever. I think it's like 2 years of content until it's complete, and then they start a new storyline. So we got a while to wait for that, but it does feel very disconnected, as in it did one big twist. You're like, oh my God. And you're like fighting this guy and it's big and epic and stuff like that. And then you win and you're like, yeah. And then he gets away. And then just like, all right, that storyline's done and we'll come back to it later. And they just like drop it off like it never happened. It was like, all right, well, and they like leave little tiny hints and there's little side quests that will have like little dialogues about it. And it's like, all right, so it is coming back. It's just like they decided, oh yeah, you're going to this new area. So there's a new storyline to it. And so it does have that kind of problem. And then obviously once other players come into play, it's like, oh, you're the lone survivor and lone, warrior. You're the chosen one. And then you just walk out and there's 50 other guys out there that are the chosen one.
Yeah, I always thought that was funny. A lot of MMOs and a lot of games, really, multiplayer games, will have you start where you like wash up on a beach or something. And I always think that's funny because it's like several million people on this boat.
Well, Path of Exile did that, but they had footprints all over the beach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but Path of Exile, you start off in that whole first area is instanced, doesn't it?
Yeah, the very first
so
area at least you're by yourself.
So you can at least kind of feel like you're the only one that survived.
Blade & Soul does that too, and MMOs have started to do that a lot more. Skyforge, another MMO that I like to play, that one also instances you for the big story stuff. And that game had a really weird boss that instanced. It was actually really cool, but like that game's story is not good. But Blade & Soul was interesting.
I feel like most MMOs fail at storytelling because they try to focus on you as a character.
Yeah.
Whereas what they need to focus on is something a la Dark Souls, where it's environmental storytelling and like talking about the lore of the world more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blade & Soul does that sort of well, as in it has different towns and stuff like that. And each area has quests that are kind of like tied to that town. Like there's one towards a pottery town. And one of my quests was like literally like, this guy has pots, you should go break them. And you go and break them. And there's an entire quest line around breaking those pots. And it's great. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I skipped most of the dialogue stuff, but I skipped it. And in the very last line was like, all right, go break those pots. And I'm like, what? And he gave me a giant hammer. I'm like, okay. So I'm just walking around with a giant hammer trying to find these pots. I was like, oh, there it is. And I just go and break them and stuff. And it's interesting.
Well, I have been playing my Xbox 360. I decided to hook it back up because why not? And I ended up because all right, so I hooked it up and my controllers are old, so the sticks are starting to drift, and it just didn't feel good like because I've been playing with my Xbox One Elite controller. And so I ended up finding this neat little doodad to plug into it that lets me use my Xbox One controller on my 360. And I've been playing Skate 3 because
Skate's it's
a great game. Why wouldn't you play it?
They need to bring it to PC, please. Thank you.
It'll never happen, but I agree. EA, I really hope they announce Skate 4 this year.
For PC.
Yes, for PC.
Please and thank you.
But I've also been playing the Dead Rising series again. I forgot how much I loved the first game in particular. Such a damn good game. I love going through it. Like, Ty is really into Dark Souls. He knows everything there is about Dark Souls, and he knows exactly what strategies to use and what he can and can't do. And it's his game, right? It's one of those games. Dead Rising 1 is my game. I know everything there is to know about it and everything like that. And it's just fun running through it again. I forgot how much I enjoyed it. And it's the only one of them that's not on PC.
Yeah, for some reason.
Which is ridiculous.
I've been playing the second one off the record.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been playing that a little bit. I just go on it for free mode though, because I just haven't played the story mode yet.
For me, the fun part is rescuing all the survivors. So
yeah, well, like every time I go on there, it's always like I'm just going to be playing for 15 minutes. I end up spending about half an hour on it, and that's about it. it's in between other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really want to go through that. That sounds fun. Because I've played the first one, I've played the second one. I haven't played the third one and probably never will. And then, like, the second one, I have Off the Record, and I'm really interested to see what they do with that one.
3 was, because it's not a bad game, right? But it lost a lot of the charm. Because the first and second ones, the first one is in a mall. The second one, you're in this casino resort. It's still a fairly enclosed area. The third one, they're like, fuck it, we're going to do an LA analog. You're in, what did they call it? I can't even remember what they ended up calling the city. But it lost a lot of that. And I think I figured out why. Because half the time you're running through the first game, the background sounds, the background music is basically non-existent, except for the times when you're in the mall and you're listening to the crappy mall speakers, right? You know, the crappy music.
Those games were very atmospheric, the first and second one.
Yes. The third one, because you weren't in those types of settings, they couldn't have music like that. So they opted for a kind of atmospheric soundtrack, right? Not much of anything, just kind of some pulses and whooms, you know, every now and then. And that's fine, but it lost a lot of character as a result.
Well, I think that also goes into everything else about it too, because I've seen it be played.
Yeah. Well, like, mechanically, I feel like it plays better. There's a lot of weird design decisions, though, because, like, rescuing survivors is nowhere near the same, and it's nowhere near as enjoyable either, because you don't bring them back to the safe house and go from there. You find a survivor, you rescue them, and they either don't give a shit, and they go off on their own, or you can unlock them later to come along with you and get killed.
Lovely.
Which is it, and you can get them from any of the safe points throughout the map. And that's the other part of it, is there's multiple, like, safe houses around the map that you clear out. And in the first two, the whole fun was you had one safe house and you had to bring everybody there because you were trying to rescue everyone. And the third one is just not about that at all.
Well, I also heard one of the things is the first one was very, very difficult in time-wise. Second one was about just the right balance for everyone. And it was like, yes, you can clear this if you're, you know, good enough. And then the third one was supposedly just way too easy.
The third one, like, okay. So part of the charm to the first one, and why I feel like it's the best game other than Off the Record, is because it is very time sensitive, right? If you want to save everybody, you need to be able to play that game multiple times and learn the timeline, right? And that's part of it, is learning, and that's part of the fun.
Yeah,
is
the second one was
timeline,
like that too, except you only had to do it about once or twice.
Yeah, what you can get done and when you can get it done. How much time can you squeeze rescuing this survivor in before you have to go do your next mission? Guide. Yeah, you could buy a strategy guide and do it that way. You know, whatever. And the second one was a little more lax. I noticed, you know, like I said, I've been playing through them, and it is significantly easier than the first one. And the third game had next to none of that. You had some missions, but you were given a shit ton of time to do them. And sure, they had their nightmare mode or whatever, which basically have the time for everything, but that doesn't really fix it. Because like, again, the focus isn't on rescuing survivors. They're there, but they don't matter. And yeah, you know, I like playing as Frank, and the photography element is fun, and, you know, it's a fun little distraction.
I personally like the second one the best, though. Like, I haven't played through Off the Record, so I can't really speak for that, and I'm sure I'll probably like that one a little bit better just because it has those photography elements and stuff like that, and it's a more it's even more off the wall storyline than the rest of them too, like, from what I've noticed, because I played through about 25% of the story. Well, and they go a little bit crazy with it.
Well, the funny thing is like, if you really look at the stories, they're not that crazy. Like, the first one in particular is actually a pretty serious story, right? Sure, it's the
setting and the way everything happens. B-movie. It's just kind of like, wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is a little ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, it's still a serious story with some serious elements, especially
like the second one, which has a dying daughter.
Yeah.
That's as serious as you can get.
Hell, even Off the Record, the story is Frank's infected. You got to get him Zombrex, you know, and that's cool. The third one has nothing to do with that. You find out, what's his face is infected. What was his name? I can't even remember his fucking name.
Never played it, so I can't answer your question. Why are you asking me these questions? Ty, do you know the answer?
Two. Wait, you're asking me things about Dead Rising? I've been silent this entire time because I literally know nothing about the game series other than there are zombies.
But there are zombies.
In the third one, you find out the main character. You find out he's infected, but he's resistant to it.
Oh my god! It's the Dead Island.
This is a new crazy thing.
Dead Island prophecy.
And so it like takes all of it out. Like I was expecting to be able to have to go find Zombrex again because that was actually fun. It wasn't fun going and buying it. It was fun finding it around the environment. And instead of finding Zombrex, you're finding Frank West statues that add nothing. And blueprints, which let you make combo weapons.
It was fun to get the monies to buy it.
Yes, yes, and they took all of that out for the third one, and that was the fun part of the game, was figuring out strategies to earn money better. You know, finding all the gambling books and things like that, and doing all the right things to unlock the best slot machine so you get more money and things like that. And that was the fun of it. It was these undiscovered things that you had to unlock through trial and error. And it wasn't that bad of trial and error.
One of the things that actually stopped me from off the record is I went, like I said, 25%. I forgot about the Zombrex, and so I died of turning into a zombie. But basically, the system was I spent the last, because I knew I wasn't going to make it or whatever. And so I was like, screw it. I'm just going to sit here in the casino and get money. And so I got money for my next playthrough so I could just buy it.
Yeah, and that was the other cool part, is that the progress you make in your previous playthroughs matters for your subsequent playthroughs. So you could level up your character and all of that. And again, just that part is still in the third one, but it's different and it's more streamlined, but as a result, it's not as good. And I don't know.
That reminds me, I've been playing Lightning Returns still, because that's a great fucking game. I love that game. Basically, I'm getting to the point to where I might actually fail this timeline, which means that I'll have to start the game over. But it does that same sort of system. And it's going to be really interesting going back, because supposedly certain things are supposed to change depending on what you did. So I'm really excited to see how that works. But yeah, I'm basically going to go back and have all these quests to redo and stuff like that. But that has the same sort of concept as well. That was my connection. I like that game.
Well,
people should check out my video on it because it's awesome.
I think that one's closer to something like Majora's Mask, though, right?
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of where you can affect things like in the timeline, because you're still saving people. Like that's actually the entire concept of it, is you're saving people in that game. So it's basically Dead Rising and Majora's Mask mixed together with Final Fantasy. It's kind of like how I've kind of come to the end of it. It's pretty awesome.
I may have to check it out.
It makes no sense if you haven't played any of the other ones. So you have to play like all 13 and 13-2 before it actually makes any sense, because the story heavily relies on those. And the gameplay doesn't really justify itself. It's a very small game, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense with how Square Enix is now kind of doing episodic releases for everything, right? Kind of plays into their new development strategy. I feel like
13 was the first game they did that on.
Yeah.
Because they did 13 and they're like, oh yeah, we can continue this. We'll do it episodic, basically.
Well, didn't they originally plan for 13 and 14 and 15 to basically all be separate games in the same timeline?
There was like 4 games that were supposed to be in the Chrysalis universe or whatever, which Final Fantasy 13 ended up being a trilogy inside that series, and then they made everything else a different game. Final Fantasy 13 Versus or whatever became Final Fantasy 15. 14 became an MMO, and it fucking crashed when they switched gears, and then basically the developer that was developing it was absolute ass, so they had to rebuild the game, basically.
I've heard that the A Realm Reborn is actually pretty decent.
Yeah. That's what I've heard about 14 too.
I haven't played it because it's a sub-based, and I don't want to spend money for something I'll spend like an hour or a week on.
Yeah, if they had a free trial.
Because it's an MMO.
Yeah, that's kind of it too. It's like,
See, I like MMOs, but there's certain payment models to where I just can't get into it. Like the sub model, I feel like it's kind of old and dead. I'm fine with buy to play. Buy to play is totally my jam. I bought Guild Wars 2 day one, and so I'm totally for that. But the sub is like it gets way too expensive.
Yeah.
I spent
a
lot of money on it.
Just at the end of the year, you're spending, a couple $100 just to play this one game,
whatever it is.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, you're really doing that anyway. You're doing that anyway if you're buying EA games. What with Battlefront, the quote unquote
buy our collector's editions for $75, and then season pass for $48.
Yeah,
don't worry, it's on sale 10%, so it'll be more expensive later.
I'm just gonna stay over here in the corner where I'll go. I actually enjoy sub payment for MMOs.
I mean,
because it guarantees a certain level of quality and a certain level of polish with everything.
It used to.
Yeah,
it still does in the case of the ones that actually fucking do it consistently.
Yes, but not all of them
like
do.
EverQuest and WoW.
Well, I think
they still promote that level of polish, and that's mostly because it's fucking Blizzard, and Blizzard is a godsend for video game company because they polish everything to a goddamn sheen.
Well, I think one issue with pay to play or with monthly payment MMOs is that if you're a new company that isn't Blizzard and you try to market your MMO as a sub thing, I mean, look at Elder Scrolls.
You don't do it.
Look at WildStar.
You can't.
WildStar is hella polished. I've played it. It's great.
Yeah,
I had a review key for it for a while.
I've heard very good things about it.
I didn't do it.
I've heard very good things about it. I've heard very good things about it, but the fact that it was a sub model and they're not Blizzard means that they can't get away with it.
That, and I don't think it was worth the sub to begin with, but I think they could have gone buy to play, but they decided to go to free to play, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I do have a premium account, so I can't necessarily talk on the whole free thing because I have unlimited character slots and stuff like that, or like up to 12 or something like that. Some ridiculous number. Right. But yeah, they added restrictions instead of just making it buy to play, which I would have liked that better. But yeah, their cash shop's actually pretty fair.
WildStar looked lame to me from the minute it started to the minute it died in a destructive blaze of garbage because that's what
it's actually doing quite decently now. The problem that they had is they advertised it too heavily on that classic MMO like dungeon raid stuff, like, oh, remember old WoW stuff? We're doing that. They should have advertised it differently. They should have done more about their world and stuff like that, because it's a really cool world and they have unique mechanics within it. Like they have the whole building mechanic and stuff like that. It's interesting. Anybody who's played it will know. I can't really go into depth in it because I haven't played it enough to really like dig into it, but I think the world is cool enough to play it, especially when it's free. So it's worth checking out.
I feel that anytime that anyone recommends an MMO or a game because the world is cool enough to play it, I'm just reminded of shit like SAO, where it's like the concept is cool, but it's absolutely terrible in execution, so you'll end up hating it more than anything else.
I wouldn't recommend a game that was terrible to play. The thing is, WildStar is that it plays fairly decently. Like it's got the whole action combat thing. It's got basically the modern standard thing to where you can aim things and stuff like that. And so you're able to move freely. It's like Guild Wars 2, basically, but with more in-depth skill mechanics.
Gotcha.
So it's not bad to play, and it runs fluid. I have never had any latency issues or anything like that on there anyways, but I think that's probably because they're lacking players. But
So what we're learning here is that Ty hates MMOs and Mike loves them.
No, I hate anything that Mike loves because he loves terrible things like Blade and Soul.
That's fine with me. I mean, you like Blizzard. I don't really like any Blizzard games, so we're good.
Wait, you both played League, right? So
League
Ty,
is ass.
You must hate League because Mike
League is the best, dude. League is like the most beautiful concoction of garbage and balance that's ever been invented. It's amazingly balanced on a competitive level, but it's absolutely fucking ass to play with random people.
Yeah.
Especially with the new champ select that's out, because, nothing's more toxic than listening to the guy who queued up for jungle that can't actually play jungle, or the guy who queued up for mid that can't actually play mid. I mean, League of Legends with the new season just became infinitely more toxic somehow when the new queue was supposed to fix up a lot of the toxic issues.
For me, I've actually run into a lot less.
Playing.
I've been running into a lot less toxicity, and actually, this last week I've been playing a ton of League. That's like the top one of the top 3 games I've been playing this week. As in, I've run into maybe 4 trolls or something like that have actually been trolly. I still run into ragers all the time because that's just the game. But toxicity has been gone.
Ranked?
Yes, I've been playing ranked. I am still in silver because I haven't built back up yet, but it's been all right.
And there's your problem.
For me, it's been all
You're
right.
in silver. All right. Here's my experience with playing in silver. I had one game with a Renekton who went 1-6 and blamed the jungler for not coming up to gank enough. When if you just watched the map and map movement, he wouldn't have gotten ganked in the first place. I had a support that literally like stood in the middle of lane and fed my lane opponent. I had a mid laner that ran underneath 2 towers and fed, and then blamed me for not carrying hard enough. So yeah, no, League is more toxic more than ever now with the way the new season went out, especially because placements fucked everything up.
Well, placements are definitely going to get fixed out over time. For me, it's definitely been better. And I've run into a lot less pick trolls as well. As in normal queues especially, you'd run into people who are like mid or feed or something like that. And there hasn't been any of that so far. I've only run into 2 cases to where someone like picks a role and they're like, oh, well, I want to play this other role. But they end up being pretty cool about it. And somebody trades and they're like, oh, we'll organize this, and we end up winning a match. It's been pretty awesome. And I've actually made a few friends. Like I made a friend that's like now watching my YouTube videos and stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, we ended up talking for a while. And
Hello,
stuff, yeah.
Mike's friend that may or may not be watching this video.
He probably won't
Probably
because he's checking out my channel, not yours. My viewer.
As we can see, there are 2 different sides of the league here. There's the side that I have to deal with, which is toxic as fuck, and there's the side that Mike deals with, which is, not toxic, but just bad.
Well, it is toxic, but like it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, and I feel like they're getting a lot heavier on the bans. I've been running into a lot of like Q dodgers, and I think those are all the rages probably coming from your side, because I don't really care if I win or lose. I just try to have fun and try to improve, and that's how I play the game. And so that probably goes into my perspective as well. If you're somebody who's always like hyper competitive, aka Ty, then you'll probably find it just as toxic or worse, because there are people who queue up for a role they can't really play. Because for people who don't know, they released a new champion select so that you actually get to pick what role you play, whether you're top, mid, bot, whatever, jungle.
It's called dynamic queue. You have to queue up for 2 positions, or queue up for 1 position and fill, or just queue up for fill in general.
Basically,
you get assigned your role the minute you get into champ select, and they changed bans to where 3rd, 4th, and 5th pick ban. 2nd pick is now officially the worst thing ever because you're not 1st pick, and you get to listen to everyone's bullshit and get to be hopeless as your team bans out Tarek.
Hey man, hey, he has a 35% win rate in bronze. I mean,
all right,
I'm just joking.
All right. Vladimir has a 100% win rate in Challenger. I'm not banning out Vladimir.
Does he right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even know.
Vladimir has the highest win rate in Challenger because there's only like 2 people who play him, and those 2 people are professionals.
I know Day One of Jin had like 80% or some shit for some reason.
No, he didn't.
No, I'm
Day
talking
One
about
Jin
in bronze.
had like. Oh, that's because it's fucking bronze.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, like saying this champion had an 80% win rate in bronze. Fucking Master Yi has an 80% win rate in bronze.
It does.
The fucking
I play
climbed
Yi
out
in
of
bronze. It's great.
I climbed out of bronze playing Yi and Shyvana. They're not good. They're not good junglers right
Kadir
now.
has the highest
but they're
win
still
rate right
pubs.
now.
Yeah, because Trick2G. He's a popular streamer who plays nothing but Udyr and has realized that
everyone's
Runeblade
like, hey.
full tank Udyr is hilarious.
I've actually been banning Udyr.
You're a terrible fucking person. Tom Kench, Mundo, Graves, Jax all deserve bans more than Udyr does. Jax can single-handedly carry a fucking game, whereas Udyr can just run around you and troll for
Not
the
in
entire
bronze
game.
and silver. Unfortunately.
Yes, he can.
Well, I'm saying like bronze and silver players is what I'm saying.
Yes, he can.
I haven't.
Jax is literally the easiest champion to play next to Yi.
But what I'm saying is I have yet to see anybody who's smart enough to be able to do that in bronze and silver. Like, I've seen a lot of Jaxes just straight up feed because they're playing it just because it's like, oh, this champion's supposed to be OP, and then they fucking fail. Like, I understand that, but like at the same time, yeah, a lot of people just play things because they're popular.
But see, here's the thing: is like unlike those other bans where I'm like saying ban Mundo, ban Kench. Mundo and Kench can literally carry a game by just building full tank and autoing you. It's funny. I love it. It's hilarious. However, then there's the bans like Graves, where a lot of people go, why would you ban Graves? Graves has the highest win rate of any champion right now in top and jungle. He's ridiculous.
Actually, no, Deer took
and unlike
I must be out of the loop because last I remember Graves was an ADC.
Well, Graves got shifted around after the marksman rework that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they changed a lot of the way the marksman work. Like, Caitlyn now gets free headshots when people stand on her traps.
Or get hit by net.
Cool.
Or get hit by net, but no one uses net offensively
well, yeah,
for that.
you use it in dueling. if you end up having to duel as Caitlyn, you can use it for a free headshot right before another one. You get basically a double
headshot. There's a
headshot.
shit about ADC dueling.
The thing is,
like, that just doesn't happen.
The thing is, though, for League, they've ended up changing all the AD carries and a lot of the supports and stuff like that. Like, they've made that game very dynamic now. Like,
they did not change the supports that much.
Well, they changed them quite a bit, as in a lot of the supports
they
are
really didn't.
Dynamic in a lot of different ways. As in, let's say, okay, so you wouldn't...
I swear to God, if you say Nidalee support, I'm going to fucking murder you.
For one, that carries bronzies so hard, you have no idea.
You are silver and bronze trash, Michael.
No, I don't actually play that in high elo. I play mostly Sona and Nami. But basically, the thing is, like...
You're even more trash
before, actually, Sona has a really, really good, actually.
Sona has a really high win rate because she has a lot of early game damage and can carry the fuck out of people.
Right, well, that's your opinion. Also, different playstyles. But the thing is, like... They've made it so that a lot of times you'd be like, in the olden days, you'd pick one support just because that's the support you play. And nowadays, you're actually like, hey, maybe I should pick this one over this one. And it feels a lot more, I don't know, a lot more situational.
That has nothing to do with how the game changed. That's how you've changed as a player.
I feel like they've done a better job, especially with like the marksmen.
No, it really hasn't. No.
Maybe.
No.
I mean, it was always like that, but I feel like they've done it better.
Okay. Mike, how long have you been playing?
I'm playing since closed beta.
All right.
Well, actually, no. I guess it was open beta.
The thing is, I've been playing since Season 2, and I'm not going to try to lord that over you. But I'm saying that even since when I was playing, I realized that, or I should say, since I got serious about playing, which was around Season 3, Season 4, I realized that every ADC has different supports that they work well with. You're not going to pick fucking Ally to support Vayne. Because it's just not how it fucking works.
Alistar and Vayne?
That's not how it fucking works. Alistar is a hard engaged champion that wants someone else who can back him up. Vayne wants nothing to do but farm all game because she's a hyper carry and that's what she does. Ally goes better with someone like Ezreal, Draven, Caitlyn even, because they rely on that hard engage. They don't have much mobility besides that. Alright. Vayne goes better with the defensive supports like Sona, Janna, and Braum,
I think that really depends on the team you're playing with, because when I was actually playing with a lot of bigger teams, they would always end up going very hard engage with Vayne because you have that wall stun. So you could use something like Alistar to knock them up, or use Leona to stun them, and then you'd use Vayne to actually wall lock them.
But the thing is even then, I'm talking about solo queue because I don't play teams that much.
Maybe that's the different perspectives then, because I played a lot of team stuff, or at least I used to. I haven't in the last, I haven't in this season yet. I didn't much last season either, just because that's when my team kind of disbanded, and I'm trying to build a new team now. I'm obviously talking to people and stuff like that for that. But yeah, so basically, from a team perspective, it's really going to be about the playstyles. And in teams, from when working with a team, it's going to be a lot more situational, as in, I'm really good with Nami, but Alistar would be really good in this situation. And so I'd end up going Alistar anyways, because that power, they've kind of shifted it so that it's like, hey, this champion's going to be really, really good in these situations against this comp in this carry. So it's
it's always been that way.
Yeah, it's always been that way.
I feel like it's better, though.
It.
As in, it's a lot stronger.
No, it's not. It's the exact fucking same.
I was about to say, it's different, maybe, but I don't know about better.
Agree to disagree.
They always just try to make it different to keep it fresh, right?
Not really. It's always kind of stayed the same in how it is. Different team comps have risen to different levels in tier lists and everything, and the meta's shifted like it always does. Right now, we're back in an ADC-centric meta because of the marksman rework and the item changes. After the next patch cycle, we're probably going to be back in the assassin meta because they're making a new item that is built for assassins.
Right.
But the meta's always been shifting like that, and there's always different champions that are better for different situations. At the end of the day, though, League has always been like that. It's not better or worse now. The only thing that's better or worse now is the fact that dynamic queue leads to a lot of fucking unnecessary drama of people queuing up for positions they're not strong in ranked.
Well, I feel like that still happened.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen anyway. But before this turns into a League of Legends podcast, like it has been for the last 20 minutes, why don't we move on to talk about something else, such as, what was it? Oculus announced their price not too long ago, 600 big ones for the VR headset with an Xbox controller and a couple games.
That happened like a month ago.
Yeah, it happened a month ago, but we haven't talked about it. So here we are. We're talking about it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Everybody like was all, "Oh my god, that's too expensive," and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I actually did a video on this. I was sick though, so I was slightly unconscious for it. But yeah, I did a topic video like almost a month ago. But basically, my opinion on it is people were saying like, "Oh yeah, VR is finally coming," and a lot of people were mad about the price. And it's like, all right, the price is understandable. It's new tech. It's going to be expensive no matter what. Don't buy into it. That's my word. Yeah. Wait for a year or two, then buy into it, and it'll be great.
Well, I look at it like this. Okay, it's $600. If you want to buy like a high-end monitor,
it's not $600.
It's going to cost you
$600. You pay $600 for the device, but you need so much more to have something to run that.
Yeah,
that's where the cost comes in. So it's not really $600. Yeah. So I'm saying basically don't buy into it. It's not worth it.
It's $600 on top of a beefy PC.
Yeah, basically.
And that's what
for me it'd be like $1,400 to upgrade to be able to use that damn thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can't see it because I don't have a webcam, but I was just mimicking the jerking off motion this entire time because that basically expresses my giving a shit about Oculus. I really don't give a shit about VR in general. I view that it's going to be fucking terrible, and I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
I've looked into VR for 5 seconds because they had a setup in my local GameStop mall, whatever. Which this was a while ago. I don't even know if it was. I don't even think it was Oculus. It was something else, probably one of the phone bullshit things they have now. But essentially, it looked cool, but I couldn't deal with it for more than 5 seconds. I'm like, whatever, just moved on. Like, I'm not necessarily into it, I guess.
I am excited for VR for one reason and one reason only. Like everybody, you know, you look at all the like the previews and stuff like that, and they all talk about how the Vive is going to be better because it comes with all the full room VR, so you can get up and move around and everything. I do not want a VR headset for moving around. I want a VR headset for one reason only. I want to play games in 3D without worrying about ghosting, like you currently do with 3D glasses of any type. I want to be able to play games in 3D with a realistic field of view and things of that nature. And that's why I think it's going to be cool, because I'm really into like 3D, because it makes sense for 3D games, being able to see the depth of things, especially in like building games like Minecraft and like Gary's Mod and stuff like that. Those are old examples, but whatever. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And that's why I'm personally excited for the various VR headsets. I'm going to wait till they all come out and wait for all the reviews and then make my decision from there.
I'm more excited for the Microsoft's, what was it, HoloLens?
I've heard that the field of view on it is
that's
really low.
That's their prototype stuff.
Well,
but yeah. what I'm looking forward to is stuff like that, because I want to play stuff like on a table. Imagine tabletop games.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. Like between VR and AR will eventually win out. The problem is getting it to be reliable. And that's why I think, the Vive headset has a camera on the front of it, so it can display the real world and overlay stuff on top of it. And I think that's really cool. And I don't think, like, at the end of the day, it's still very specialized, and you're only going to be playing certain games that are built for these devices, right? You're not going to be, like Halo whatever isn't going to come out, and you're going to be playing it with a VR headset, because it's not made for that. It's made so everybody can enjoy it regardless of whether they have a headset or not. And that's going to be the same for most all games.
Yeah, there's going to be a few VR specific games or games that are just perfect for it, like Aero Trick Simulator or something like that. But overall, it's going to be one of those things. It's kind of like, it's going to be like a Kinect, except better, I guess.
Well, again, that's why I'm excited for it, is because at the end of the day, I'll be able to play all my games in 3D, and that's what I want.
I'm not a big fan of 3D.
More than anything.
I mean, I have a 3DS, and I've used the 3D TV.
Well, again, those are like really subpar versions of 3D, and I've used those as well. I had a 3DS. It was cool, but I always end up turning off the 3D because it just got in the way more than anything. Yeah, it does that too.
Play it.
And I used to have an NVIDIA card and the 3D vision glasses, and it was cool. But at the end of the day, unless you were playing it in like a dark room, the ghosting was so bad that it just looked blurry and it was damn near unplayable. And I know they've come out with a new version since I last played with it, and it's supposed to be better about that, and that's cool. but the 3D headsets are gonna like eliminate that
I
problem
think
completely.
3D TVs and monitors have pretty much died now too.
Yeah, nobody cares. Because it's shitty technology. That's why the headsets are better. Like that's literally
It's
all
still
I want it
using the
for is
same
3D.
general idea though. Send 2 images to the 2 eyes.
Yeah, but it's a better way of doing that. Instead of having the display all the way over there and you have glasses switch each eye off, you just strap the display to your face and put a piece of cardboard between your eyes.
My lack of caring.
I know, Ty, you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about anything.
Oh, here's
That's
an
okay.
interesting
I give a
thing.
shit about Ruby.
You give a shit about what?
Ruby.
Why do you give a shit about Ruby?
Because it's fucking great. It only took 2.5 seasons to sacrifice the creator's soul to make it good.
Wow. Way to be respectful.
I'm sorry. Have you watched Ruby at all? Then don't fucking talk. The first 2 seasons are absolute trash. The writing is fucking terrible. The character interactions are mediocre at best. The action scenes that are good in them are fucking jokes. I mean, the best action scene in season 2 is in the first episode, and they dumped their entire fucking budget on a food fight.
Yeah.
I can imagine it. They're actually hiring for animators last time I checked.
Well,
They're
that's
not
because
anymore.
the main one died.
Yeah,
literally, the main one died. His protege just quit Rooster Teeth. And honestly, the only other animator that's there that I'm actually looking forward to is Dylan Gu, who's been doing awesome shit so far. He's like, I don't want to say this on a fucking podcast, but I'm going to. He's like a young Monty Hume. He has that same passion and drive for animating, and he has the creative mind to do it. He's a dude who got into animation because of Monty, so it's kind of fun to see him actually doing stuff with what is Monty's brainchild.
Yeah, it is rather interesting. I will say that I've watched. I'm caught up. I don't follow it as heavily as Ty does, but I do enjoy it. And the new season is pretty damn good. It took a little bit to get there, but it's pretty damn good.
Like I said, it only took 2.5 seasons to sacrifice the creator's soul to make it good.
Yeah.
And I have never watched it.
You're not wrong. You should check it out at some time. It's not
like,
the
don't
best,
do it, because if he likes it, then I have to call it trash.
No, like, the reason why I make that sound whenever anyone says you should watch Ruby is I always feel like I need to follow with the disclaimer of Volume 1 is absolute fucking trash. The only good thing about it is the music. And Volume 2 is mediocre at best.
Here, I'll put it in a different way. Don't expect it to be amazing, but if you have a couple of hours to kill, it's okay.
It was hours to kill. That
Volume
sounds like
3
a lot of time.
Well, like, Volume 1 is like 1.5 hours, Volume 2 is 2.5 hours, Volume 3 is
getting pretty long. Its episodes are a lot longer now.
They're a 10-minute minimum, 17-minute is the longest one, which is episode 6 so far.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it's getting to be about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, about the same length as Volume 2, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Volume 1 is played with animation issues and just general bad writing. Honestly, like, I'm going to keep poking fun at one of the first lines in that show, which is, you have silver eyes. All right, what the fuck does that mean? Oh, absolutely fucking nothing. Nice to know.
Well, I look at it like this, okay?
It's a very rough start at the first time they actually tried to make a serious anime.
I look at it like this. I think Rooster Teeth went into making Ruby a lot like they went into making Red versus Blue. And unfortunately, the two things don't really mix. So they're kind of coming into their own now, making it its own kind of thing. But I think they originally tried to produce it like the only thing they knew how to produce, and that was just RVB.
Red versus Blue.
They had animated segments in it, and RVB's all right.
I liked how it started. It was hilarious.
Yeah. And it's still hilarious. I watched
oh no, man.
Well, I watched part of the newest season, and there's one particular episode where they have Danny and Aaron from the Game Grumps in it, and it's absolutely fucking hilarious.
He shot me in the lap.
Wait, the lap?
Yeah, the lap. Do you mean like your upper thigh?
No, the lap.
Excuse my friend here for not being a medical genius. That episode is fantastic.
I haven't watched any of the
like
newer stuff. I only know the old stuff.
And that is no one to blame but yourself, because a lot of the recent stuff and a lot of the newer stuff in general is absolutely fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's
a bit
really
more
not bad.
serious than the previous stuff, but that's because they actually tried to have a fucking storyline.
Yeah,
I like the old skit
Instead
style
of-
of not having a storyline, though. I thought that was nice. It had
don't.
like a very, very loose story that just kind of moved things along.
I
Yeah,
fucking despise it.
I will say this: they're a lot more heavy-handed with the story now, and it's really a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other thing. You either like it or you don't. It's either a good thing or it's a bad thing, and it really just depends on your taste. It's all subjective. I personally, it's all right. It's not bad. I could take it or leave it. I like either one, but I'm not hard to please.
For me,
so.
I don't watch a lot of stuff,
honestly-
and so that's probably why I haven't checked it out.
Yeah,
I also don't follow things for very long, and so like I'd probably lose it, and then if I came back to it, it'd be like, oh, well, I have to catch up on the story now since it actually matters.
yeah.
So
I watch stuff and follow it obsessively, and
Yes,
I
you do.
critique myself on why I like things.
Yes, you do, Ty. Yes, you do.
Because that way, if anyone asks me, why do you like this trash? I can go, because that's absolute fucking trash. That's why I like it.
Because what was the joke?
wow, that was so surprising of Ty to say. You want to know what else isn't surprising? On the Windows Store, game downloads are the highest. Yeah.
No shit.
Wait, there's a Windows
fucking
Store?
Yeah, there's a Windows
So-
Store built into Windows 10 that doesn't work on my machine, by the way.
Weird. I'm
there I
on it right
learned.
now. I just downloaded a game, actually. Because there's
Yeah.
a Prime World Defenders thing that people keep recommending to me. So I'm like, all right,
I have that on my iPad, and it's pretty good for a tower defense
yeah,
game.
people keep telling me to check
You
it
can
out.
also play it for free
So
on Facebook.
Holy shit, there is a store on Windows
Yeah.
10.
Basically,
Today
So,
I fucking
people have been
learned.
complaining since Windows 10 launched that their apps are not selling well. Except for...
Well, yeah, no
except
shit.
for game devs who on free games at least have been screaming that things have been going really, really well, and apparently in-app purchases are going out the ass through the Windows Store. So people are using the Windows Store, which is surprising to me, but it has a lot of great
Yeah,
games
for
on there.
games.
Like Asphalt 8 is on there, which is an amazing racer.
Mm-hmm.
Hydro Thunder is on there. They have a lot of Xbox Live Arcade games on here that I'd never even noticed. And it's never on the front page or featured or anything like that. So I went digging for some stuff that I used to have on my 360 and I found it. I'm like, oh my God, I need to pick these up. So there's actually good stuff on
Hydro Thunder is like the best thing in
It's
existence.
great.
It's stupid. It's balls to the walls.
there.
Awesome.
Hydro
and
Thunder
I love it.
Hurricane.
The only thing,
Great.
I remember being a
Still-
kid and walking into our local arcade, and Hydro
Hell
Thunder
yeah.
was there, and somebody was playing, and of course
Every
somebody
other weekend for
picked
me.
one of the racers. What was it? Damn the Torpedoes
Yep.
or whatever. And I was like, "What? They can say that in a video game?"
Nah.
As a little kid, I was like, "Oh my god,
I
that's
played
a bad
lots of
word."
violent video games, and so that wouldn't surprise me. So
Well, so did I, but it was in a public setting, right? It was in an arcade, and I was like, "Oh my god."
I just enjoyed the fact that they got away with it being DAM, not as in damn the
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same thing as The Shining getting away with it because that's not blood. That's rusty water. Sure.
Hydro Thunder Hurricane
Yep.
is actually a really good game. I want to get it. I just haven't yet because I don't want to put money on
Yep.
my Microsoft account because that's how you have to do it, which is annoying.
Yep. They used to accept Bitcoin. I don't know if they still
Yeah, I
do or
spend my
not.
Bitcoin
I
elsewhere.
used to on occasion I would throw some Bitcoin into my Microsoft account. It usually worked pretty well. Never had any problems with
Yeah.
it.
My basically my wish list has Illa Milo on it and then Hydro Thunder Hurricane. Those are the two games I really want off the Microsoft Store. The new Fable game that's coming out is also coming on the Windows Store exclusively.
Yeah, it's a free to play. Well, it's a free to
It
play
is.
thing, and I'm not excited at
I'm
all about
interested.
it.
Not excited, interested.
It's
Like,
it's
they-
Fable.
Well, they killed it when it's Fable, so I'm like, I enjoyed Fable 2.
Fable 2 was fun.
And that was about it. And then they said multiplayer only, and that killed it for me. I give no shits.
Fable 2 was a
See,
really fun.
They killed it
small
for
game.
me the minute I heard the words "it's Fable," and I'm just like, nope. Later, I enjoyed Fable 1. That was about it.
Fable-
After
Yeah.
that, I stopped
Fable
giving
had
a
a
shit.
lot of promises that never delivered.
Peter Molyneux in
Yeah.
a nutshell, everyone.
Pretty much. If you want to know more
God,
about him,
dude.
just go and search his name, and you'll find articles upon articles, and you will find him even defeatingly admitting that he shouldn't make promises anymore.
He was in the news here recently. There was a thing, somebody hacked his Twitter account and said he was retiring and that Fable 3 was like his biggest regret.
Lovely. No, but like,
As it
And of
should
course
be.
he came out.
did you guys ever see that interview with him to where they like straight out attacked him? I don't remember where it was from, so I can't link it or anything, but like they straight up attacked him, and it was so sad to watch because he just defeatingly admitted that he should not have made any promises. And he admitted that in his future projects that he won't be promising anything, although he does, obviously. That's his personality.
Well, of course, it's part of his character.
I don't even know what he's doing right now. Is he still doing social experiment stuff?
No, they ended that. What was it? Curiosity,
and then they had Cube.
And some dude won, and they still haven't revealed. Like he doesn't know what he won or anything. I don't know. It's some stupid.
I
I don't even know what he's doing anymore.
I can't care. I can't give a shit. Nothing in me wants to.
The thing is, that guy had great ideas. They just never got done.
Yeah. Yeah, it just never turned into anything.
Talking about great things that never turned into anything. PT.
Man, okay, so I'm so disappointed with that. I never followed the Silent Hills franchise at all.
I did.
But Kojima and Del Toro working together, I'm still so sad about that. Everything that happened with Kojima and Konami
in general.
But
fuck Konami.
But guess what? Frickin' Del Toro and Kojima will be together at the DICE Summit in Vegas. And I don't think they're announcing anything. I think all it is they're doing like a panel on something, and Del Toro is going to be presenting Kojima with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
All I heard is that they're going to be in two people in a place.
Yeah, basically. But it at least shows that they're still like that can't be a coincidence, right? They got to be working together on something.
Well, they both got screwed over by the same company,
Hills.
Basically, didn't they? So
yeah, basically. Well, Del Toro, it wasn't his first time trying to work on a game, but it's the second time he tried it, and it's the second time it fell through. So he's just like, nope, fuck it, I'm done. And I don't blame the guy. Bad timing is all it was. Like, how could you have known Konami was going to fucking screw literally everybody over?
Like the Fine Brothers.
Yeah.
I don't think we have enough time to actually talk about all that.
Do we even want to talk about it? It's a fucking stupid thing that they tried to do.
They almost screwed over
and they got
a lot
huge
of stuff.
backlash because of it.
Well, they went back on all of it. Like, they rescinded their trademarks and
so
everything.
if you're subscribed to the Fine Brothers, unsubscribe to them and do not watch their stuff.
Yep. First world problem. I was never subscribed to them in the first place, so I can't unsubscribe.
I have seen like two of their videos.
I did watch a stream the stream where their subscription count went down. Just constantly.
So for people who don't know, quick overlaps. Basically, they tried to copyright all of their stuff, as in they tried to copyright React and every subsidiary to it. So like Kids React, Elders React, and they act like they own the industry for reaction videos. They've been going and attacking several stuff. Like the one I'm pissed about is they attacked Ellen DeGeneres for having a reaction in her thing, which was a completely different format. And Ellen's fucking awesome. Why would you do that? And then they tried to shut down a bunch of YouTube channels and stuff like that. And they've been trying to steal things, basically. So they're assholes, just all around assholes.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, basically they were shutting
lying
down
with hypocrisy.
YouTube videos. Yeah, they were shutting down YouTube videos that bared a resemblance to their particular format of reaction.
Even if it wasn't even in their format, if it was a reaction video in general, and they were even taking down review channels.
Yeah,
and it's like, come the fuck on. So yeah, if
you're
subscribed to them,
at the end of the day,
do not be subscribed to them.
At the end of the day, they're being right cunts, and they deserve the loss of subscribers that they have.
Yep. And all of those subscribers should come and subscribe to us and all of our amazing, totally, completely scheduled releases.
Yes.
Wonderful commentary.
Well,
wonderful.
On my channel, I have scheduled.
Wonderful content.
Yeah, if you guys want a more consistent stream of content, since we're still kind of in the middle of a hiatus, we're still trying to get things figured out. You can go check out Michael's channel. He releases
reviews
videos. he does videos very consistently. It's great.
Well, well,
And
I haven't had one in the last
find me
few
over
days,
there.
which makes me feel sad because I haven't had content. Because I've been spending so much time on these shitty games I don't want to do videos on. So I'm not. Yeah. I've had some great games though, so thank you to the developers for sending review keys and stuff like that. So thank you to guys. If any of you are watching, you guys are freaking awesome. And also everyone else is awesome as well.
I mean,
everyone is awesome.
Everyone is
awesome. We're not made of Legos, but we still sing this song.
No, we don't.
Fucking murder
you should probably end it before Ty kills me.
With
end it.
That, I think that'll do it for this episode of Classy Chat. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you've been playing. Let us know what you think of VR and all of that jazz. Please.
Tell me that Ruby is trash.
Yeah. Tell Ty that Ruby is trash and that his opinions don't matter.
Join me in League because I need friends.
I'll just sadly nod.
Please keep it classy.